the 27th of October, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Doing this live video today on emotions, and I had an interesting interaction yesterday that really got me thinking. I talk a lot about emotions and how they're used in investing against us, right? How big money is able to use our emotions against us. But I had an interaction yesterday with someone that I like, that has success as an entrepreneur, and we were talking about finance. We were talking about business as well. And what I really want to touch on today is the fact that you have to be aware and cognizant that let's talk about business first. So in business, if you are running a business that's successful, you're looking to take it to the next level. The people that you probably currently work with, in one way or another, you support. And what you need to be aware of in that situation is you support them, you're going to get a lot of yeses. Now, why is that? What they always say, don't surround yourself with yes people. And most people feel that they're not. But the truth is, if you have a conversation with them, they are steadfast in opinions. And if you know more, or you have an expert opinion, I've spent decades in finance, right, and business, and you know something and you're trying to explain it to them and they are steadfast, odds are they are surrounded by yes people. And it's not that you're not intelligent. It's not that you're probably not aware of that fact, right? And the bigger you get, the more yes people you get. So in the beginning, your yes people are probably people that work directly for you. But as you climb, your yes people become your investment consultants, your financial planners. It becomes everyone. Now, why? Well, here's the sad truth as to why. Making you feel good, giving you a positive emotion, makes you more likely to work with them and stay with them. If they are feeding you the truth or an opposing opinion, and you've probably gained a little bit of ego with your success, you don't like that. You're not used to being challenged anymore. It's one of the great pitfalls of small businesses, small business owners, entrepreneurs, even big businesses. The average person does not want to be opposed, and they just want to feel good. And what feels good traditionally is probably what you hear a lot of. Everyone wants to hear how smart they are. Everyone wants to hear how successful they are. We all do. There's not a person on the planet that doesn't like hearing that. I too like hearing that. The problem is that can become a trap. And oftentimes it is a trap, and it holds you back. You have the opportunity and chance to take things to another level consistently in life. Regardless of where you started, you can keep climbing. Where you finish, I have no idea. But the journey never has to end. But I'll tell you what will put it to an abrupt stop is when you just want to feel good. And I hear that a lot, especially if you're talking to someone who's artistic. They put their feelings above all else, which is oftentimes why you hear about them being ripped off so often. It's not just because they have money. I mean, it's very rare that you're going to hear about the hedge fund manager or some guy that works over on that side of life in business or in finance being ripped off with fake wine and fake paintings. They don't particularly care how much they like you. They probably care more about how competent you are. And so, circling back to the conversation I had yesterday, I was talking with him, and it was very evident to me that, because he does quite well, that at least the investment advisors that he is surrounded by, yes him. Because he had no idea what he was talking about and how it worked, or even how the markets and financial markets work in general. And so he would keep spinning the conversation into a new direction, which I can easily follow. into the new direction. It's not an issue because I have 2.5 decades in this, and I took the time to learn it. Something shocking and probably something not a lot of people want to hear, even if you're an investment advisor, your financial advisor, or honestly even your business consultant, if you are steadfast in your opinion, they're not going to oppose you because they don't want to be fired. Now, I myself was a financial advisor and an investment advisor for years, almost into 20 years. And I'll tell you, I was never good at that part. If you came to me with bad ideas or said things that weren't true and went against whatever you were listening to, whatever guy's newsletter you were reading, whoever your other advisor was, because I would only ever take half of anyone's money. I wanted there to be contrast between myself and my quote-unquote competition, which was just other advisors. You could only have half your money with me, and that way when I outperform them every year, you would begin to trust me, which is why the day I quit the business, I still have my very first client. But I didn't just yes you. And I made good money, don't get me wrong, but by no means was I at the top of the finance game. I made really good money, right? But no means at the top of the finance game. I could have done so much better if I just agreed. I just agreed. But I didn't feel that that was what was best for you, or best for anyone. I thought, look, if I agree, they're not going to get upset. I'm not going to have this conversation. I can just say, yeah, that's right. This Ukrainian thing and this, Israel and Palestine and yeah, no. Yeah, when they introduce ETFs to Bitcoin, it's going to skyrocket. Knowing full well the easiest thing that you'll ever learn in your life when it comes to investing is that you buy the rumor and sell the news. Always. Every once in an eon, that isn't true. 1 in a million. And that was kind of the conversation I was having yesterday. And no, you don't understand. No, I understand. So I learned a valuable lesson yesterday too, which was you can't explain something or teach something to someone who doesn't want to hear it. There's literally no point. And that's why I left the finance game. I left the traditional finance game and I went this direction because what I want is only people that are interested in the best possible decisions and the truth. And they want to know, well, how does the system really work? Right? Now, I'm not telling you have to become a professional in doing this, but emotions, it's the tool used against you. It's used against you in personal finance, investments. It probably stems into everything, to be fair. It definitely does in business. Excuse me, I'm outside. That's a cement truck. Going live's a little different than having something polished, and I do that on purpose because I'm just sitting here riffing. And I'm just telling you, I can tell you right now that the number one reasons your emotions get the best of you or get the best of anyone or your ego gets the best of you, which we all have even though we try not to. I know I try not to, but it's impossible to eliminate, right? Everybody has this ego. Everybody has this me, I'm important and I'm right kind of thing inside them that I think if you're intelligent, you're always trying to moderate it to its smallest possible influence. But we all have it. And the reason it gets used against you in business is because, hearing, yes, you're right, that's a great business idea is great. Oh, yeah, you're right. No, you really seem to understand the markets, right? All this stuff makes you feel good. The truth is, 99% of the public has no idea how the markets really move. And the funny thing is, it's because of what you've been fed, right? It really just boils down to one thing, cash flow. If I move money into a market, it's going to go up. If I move money out of a market, it's going to go down. Well, obviously, Derek, right, that's how it works. And we're run by big money, so it really is that simple. And that's why when someone tries to argue with me about how this asset is different than every other asset we've ever experienced, it's like, no, it's not. It's the same thing. It's the same thing regurgitated. It doesn't matter if it appears different, it's so different. and it's controlled by the same guys, which means ultimately it's heading to the same place, which means it's ultimately going to have the same actions. So if you studied history or you know someone that has, you can stay ahead of the curve pretty easily in matters of finance. And again, even healthcare, your ego making you feel good. Hey, because the fact of the matter with health is it's really the most simple thing in the world. Exercise and eat right and make sure you go outside. If you do those things, 99% of your health concerns will be alleviated. But that doesn't sound like fun. And we'll make a bunch of excuses. I don't have time, my work, my kids, so on and so forth. Look, everyone can honestly squeeze a half an hour of a workout in a day, even if it's like when they get home and they're getting changed and they just do air squats and push-ups. We can all do it. But we don't want that. We want to be yesed, and we want to hear we're right. We want to hear that it's not our fault, and we want to hear that it's this and it's that, when the reality is it's just us. We just don't want to hear the truth, or we want to believe we're right. It's like it's ego-driven to an extent. And that's how our emotions manipulate us. So, I didn't have, and I don't have in these live sessions some bullet point that I'm going to go through, but I hope some of what I said has resonated to you, and I hope that you think about this when you're telling someone, hey, you're sitting on $250,000 and you're 55 years old and you say, can I retire at 65? And the advisor looks at you and he can see in your eyes that you're itching for him to say yes. Oh, yeah, you definitely can still do it. And he's nodding to you and making you feel good. And you know in your heart that can't be true. Well, what also is true is that you need to find someone who will be honest with you. So you were just told, you need to find someone new to work with. If your investments, you call him and he gives you the same spiel, there's wars and this is why we dropped and we're in it for the long term. You are in it for the long term. We all are, hopefully. I hope we're all in it for the long term. But if you went to your mechanic and every time you brought the car to him, you told him, I think it's this, and he said, oh, it is that. And then you took your car home and it was still broken, or it got worse. Because most people go talk to their advisor and they do exactly the wrong thing because their emotions are guiding them and they're doing exactly the wrong thing. Listen, if your mechanic consistently gave you bad advice, but it sure feels good, you're going to find a new mechanic. Listen, this is the same sort of situation. It's the same. If you give him a call and you say, I want to buy Apple and here's why, and I read about this report and these earnings. First off, you're talking about information that everyone has. So it can't possibly have any influence on a forecasting mechanism, which is what the market is. But he wants a commission and he wants you to feel good. So yeah, and then Apple dumps. And you read another report on why it dumped and you recited to him and he goes, I know, nobody saw that coming. I mean, you couldn't have possibly known. Well, you feel better because you didn't make a mistake and no one knew. You did make a mistake and it was easy to identify. But you stick with him because he emotionally makes you feel good. I'm here to tell you that what you need to do is ground yourself in a little bit of education so you understand how this stuff works, which you would do in any major part of your life, right? Like you don't just blindly walk around eating Twinkies and then go to a dietitian and that dietitian says, oh, this is great. You eat 100 of these a day. You're going to be in great shape. You go home, you weigh 600 pounds, 3 months later, and then you come back and, yeah, I couldn't have seen that Twinkie doing that. You're going to fire that person. This is the same thing. So anyway, I hope this resonated with some of you. And I had that conversation yesterday, and I just feel like the emotional mistakes that are consistently made, and I watch them being made because we want to feel good, they're avoidable. They are avoidable. So I hope maybe this helps. I hope it helps. If you have any questions or comments or have anything to say, DM me, comment on the video, whatever you prefer. Other than that, I will see you Monday. I believe I will be doing, I'm going to do an afternoon session on Monday here. I think I'm going to do 2:30 Pacific Daylight Time here on Facebook Live. I'm going to try an afternoon. I'm going to do the same thing on Instagram. I'm going to do a 3:30 Pacific Daylight Time on Monday on Instagram. So if you're interested and you just want to hear a bit more about what I think, I'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I really do.